All right, so trigger warning, the video we're about to share includes some tears and some stories about child abuse, but also some very happy stories.
We're sharing part of one of our Bucket List Friends videos. It's something we've never done here before on our regular YouTube.
How long have we done Bucket List Friends now?
We've done Bucket List Friends for like 3 years.
For those of you who don't know, it's
years.
our club where every month, if you sign up for Bucket List Friends, you receive an email from Jessica that includes a travel deal to somewhere awesome
Or a
around
brand
the
deal.
world. And that was the hope always, that like it's $5 a month, but as soon as you take advantage of any one of these brand deals, travel deals that we provide, like more than worth it. We wanted to make this just an easy decision.
And then each month we share a weekly podcast video where Garrett and I sit down and talk about stuff that we just would never share.
And that's
on our
what I
regular
love
YouTube.
about Bucket List Friends is, I mean, when you put something especially sensitive and private out on the internet, like, you know, it's out there and anyone can have like these trolling comments and whatever. What are some of the topics that we cover in Bucket List Friends videos?
We talk about everything. Parenting, traveling, embarrassing stories, our love story. We talk about business and entrepreneurship. We talk about
How to get started on social media, how to travel specifically with kids or young babies.
and you shared in that video about your child abuse and trauma. It's content that we would never put out on YouTube. I love this community. The community that we have somehow built, everyone is just a rock star, just amazing people, the people that we've connected with. We are working on something super, super special to connect everybody, not just us.
With each other. Yeah, so that Bucket List Friends is this global community.
I'm obsessed. I love this community. It means the world to me. These videos, I spend a lot of time. It's like the one video that I edit. I put the time into the content, and I'm just really proud of it. And I'm proud of the people that are there because people are wonderful.
So we hope you'll enjoy this video and we hope you will consider checking out Bucket List Friends. We will put the link in the descriptions. So without further ado, here it is.
Hi, Bucket List Friends. It is June. We are taking off in like 5 days for a full summer of travels. You excited?
Today we are talking about friendship.
Friendship.
And when I think of that, like that kind of sounds like a typical topic, simple topic, like, oh, we're just talking about friendship. I'm telling you, when I think about friendship, we don't talk about it enough. It might be top 3 as far as like values in our life, right? So I'm so excited to talk about this. I'm ready to like pour my everything into this conversation.
One story I just remembered, I was in church years ago, and I think friendship is something that a lot of people struggle with. I was sitting in church and there was a church lesson and a lady got up and she asked everybody to write down one, like their biggest struggle. And we all wrote it on a piece of paper and she like picked them out of a hat and just started reading them. And some of them were like, my son is sick. My like aunt has cancer. Some of those were really like intense stuff like that. But the majority of them, like I kid you not, out of like the 50 that she read, people said, I feel lonely. I don't have friends. I wish I had someone to talk to. Like I was amazed at this like group of women that were all at church together and basically should all be friends together, all felt lonely.
That honestly, that hurts my heart to hear. And oftentimes when we put out videos that are like our Bucket List YouTube videos that are us with our friends on like friends trips and stuff like that, when I see so many in the comments of, I wish I had friends like what I see you have, it really hurts. That's why I'm so excited to share this video and for us to talk about like how we approach making friends, the friendships and how to foster those friendships and everything on the matter.
Well, and there's all sorts of different facets of making friends, right? For Garrett, I know he has had the exact same friends since he was in 7th grade. Like literally his 2 best friends, Morgan and Alex, they've been besties since when?
Can I share like the mini backstory to it? Because I had a best friend from like diaper age and his name was Nick, and he and I, no joke, houses next to each other, grew up, we have pictures together.
They were
diapers.
2 little hellions running around the neighborhood.
We literally burned the neighborhood down. But we almost didn't go like a day without seeing each other. And it was just a thing, like if my parents couldn't find me, it's because I was sleeping at his house. There was one time where his parents were like, Garrett, we would just love every time you're at our house, but maybe you should go home. It's Christmas Eve. Maybe you should go back home for a little bit. It's been a week, you know? But that's like how tight and intertwined our families were. Love that kid until one day, and that one day being the first day of junior high school. And for obvious reasons. I was really nervous. It was going to be a new school, meeting so many new kids, a lot of elementary schools coming together. And something happened where Nick got invited to a big party that first weekend. And I remember I didn't get invited and was like, well, what do we do? Like, this is a new situation. And Nick said, I'll tell you what, I'll go to the party. I'll see if the kids are cool and nice, whatever. And then I'll like invite you into the group. Cool. I'm telling you, to this date, that was the last time Nick ever talked to me. We went from like best friends from childhood all the way to that party that I didn't get invited to, and never heard from him again, even though we were in the same classes.
But who did you meet, like, literally that same?
That very next day, I'm like alone at lunch, and these two kids, Alex and Morgan, say, hey kid, those are some weird shoes. They go, come over here, you want to sit with us for lunch? They invited me to sit with them at lunch. We start chatting, hanging out, and that weekend they're like, yo, you want to have a sleepover this weekend? We'll play video games, make music videos. And we did, and we've been best friends ever since.
And this is like a whole other like kind of topic when you think of like friends as children, and when friends really make or break a person. Like, more than activities, more than school, more than parenting, the one thing that's going to make your kid a good kid is the friends that they choose. And the friends that they choose in middle school. And for me, like, I grew up...
We think 7th grade's like that.
I grew up, and somehow I always just had a lot of friends. I was friends with everybody. I was friends with like the popular kids. I was friends with not popular kids, and I would get invited to certain parties, and I would go, and I was always like, this doesn't feel right. Like, I think me naturally, like, I'm just like a good kid at heart. I have zero temptation to do a lot of bad stuff. But in contrast though, like, I mean, I feel like you could have gone either way, but you ended up friends with Morgan and Alex, who are making music videos.
I'm just going to tell you like it is, that party that I did not get invited to, that group of kids got into bad stuff and drinking and drugs and stuff. And I would have done the same. I would have gotten into drugs. I would have gotten 100%. Into drinking, just if that was what was around me. And Morgan and Alex, they weren't. They were good kids. And it was our friendship and their like love for me that was my motivation to be a better person. I wanted to be worthy of their friendship because they were my best friends. And that is why I made good decisions. Not because of church, not because of what my parents told me to do, not because of my own moral compass. It's because I had friends that loved me and I wanted to be worthy of that friendship.
For sure. And I like...
Sorry, babe.
No, I really like, I credit all of Garrett's success and why you are such like a genuinely like happy-go-lucky, naive, doesn't, wanting to get into bad stuff, because Morgan is just like as good as they come.
I want to share a quick story just on the topic. We shared before that I grew up with an abusive stepmom, okay? To summarize in one story, there was a situation, a fight at my house that I couldn't survive being home. And so luckily I had a best friend where I could retreat to his house, knock on his window in the middle of the night, and stay at his place of a place of refuge. And for that reason, I love him, I love his family, I love his parents. I had a broken home, and their home was whole, and they invited me in.
I love that family. It's so funny too. Like, Garrett would be over there all weekend, and they're like, Garrett, you gotta do chores. But it's a family like them. They're like, that we've said multiple times, like, we want to be like this family. Who, like, the doors are open, the cupboards are always filled with snacks, like the fun house for the kids to be at. They had the activities, they had stuff going on. Like, if you can create that like wholesome environment where young people want to be around and it just feels good and they feel loved, which it was for Garrett, and it was a safe haven for him.
Just in a very real way, they saved my life, right? So it kind of sucks because every single human deserves those type of friendships, right? Everyone would be in a better place, and all the tragedies in this world, for the most part, could go away if everyone had those friendships and that love in their life, because it is what would motivate people to be the very best version of themselves, make right decisions, and just fill the world with love if you're receiving that love. When you don't have that love and you are lonely or scared or afraid or hurt, then you turn to those things. You spread hatred, you spread, pain or violence, whatever it is. So
as a parent, like something we're so conscious of is helping our kids find good friends, like kids that make our kids better people, where they can be themselves and feel comfortable. And it's hard.
One of my siblings and I talk about this often because our kids are about the same age, and they're like, I will uproot my family and I will pick where we live, not based on the house, even not based on like schooling and this, like the number one thing they're looking for is where are the right friends for my children, because it can't be said enough, that's going to influence their life more than church and religion and school and parenting, like everything, right? It's a known thing that Dorothy, her number one goal and resolution this year is she wants a best friend, and she has a lot of great friends. But
when she said that, it broke both our hearts, because I think we both grew up with
that best friend
where you were like, bye mom, see you in 4 days.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, and a lot of that just doesn't exist right now, unfortunately. It's very difficult to come by for all sorts of reasons, right? But I'm super bummed that Dorothy doesn't have that best friend, or Manila. Our kids just right now we don't live in a place where I can be like, yeah, be back by 8 p.m.,
Yeah. They have a lot of great friends here on the island in Hawaii.
But it is a catered, hey, let's
arrange a play date. Yeah. Let's all go over there as a family or whatever. I'm ready to buy up all the land around us and just surround us with this compound of friends to give that to our children. That's how badly we are prioritizing best friends for our kids.
Well, and so making friends is obviously super, super difficult. Making couple friends is very difficult.
Right, let's
talk about it. And then making
we've
family friends is even more difficult. We have some amazing, amazing friends, but also when your kids don't line up perfectly. There's a family that I grew up with, and they had 4 kids, and we all pretty much lined up. Our parents were best friends. This family was the Kimmy Gibblers, walking through the door, they're eating your cereal. Yeah.
Who's Kimmy Gibbler?
No, yeah. But where you just have the neighbors that you're so familiar with each other.
That's a great example.
So close. And that's how this family, the Dorflin family, was to me growing up. I consider them more family than any of my extended family, but we kind of grew up differently with different families, extended families. I have 6 cousins on both sides combined. Some lived in Texas, some lived in Arizona. I never saw my cousins. My cousins, we were not close to my cousins whatsoever. So this family, they were more my family than anybody else.
Friends are so tight.
I go to their weddings and not my own cousin weddings,
Yeah.
But you grew up close with your cousins.
Yeah, we kind of had all the above. A really amazing neighborhood, really amazing cousins and relatives and family friends, all the above. Wait, so I think we talk about kind of helping your kids make the right friends, and then how you make couples friends, or actually I'd even say adult friends, how you make new friends if you're an adult and you don't have as many friends, and then onward. And so to kind of seal up how do you help your kids make friends, the right friends?
I think at least what we've done, not that our kids have this is something we're actively working on, but I feel something we are doing is any chance my kids get to have an opportunity to make a new friend, I'm yeah, let's do it. I'll drive 30 minutes to take you to the activity. I'll drive an hour to the other side of the island for the birthday party. I am trying to foster as many good relationships with good kids as I possibly can, putting them in sailing camp and surf camp and school activities, like just trying to arrange things for my kids to do.
Mm-hmm. And you're, as a parent, then you're very aware. What sort of influence does that friend have on your child?
And you can quickly see, like, are these kids good? Are they kind? Are they sweet? Are they loving? You know, like you can quickly see, like, okay, like we're probably not going to have this little boy over again, or we're not going to do sleepovers with her, you know, stuff like that.
Okay, so then not necessarily like married couples friends, but like if you're just an adult or a young adult and you're looking to make friends, what advice you might have there? And this one at least goes across the span of it, even if you're dating, is you're going to find friends of the level where you are living at. If you want to find friends that have high values and are healthy, well, then maybe that's going to take place if you're doing healthy activities, or, you know, activities with high standards and values. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to find people at the level that you are currently at. And so by being the best version of yourself will help you find the best friends possible for you. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it's just the typical, say, like dating. If you're trying to find your dates at like a bar or a club, then you're going to find bar club level like relationships. You know, if you happen to meet someone at I don't know, maybe like a gym, or then they're probably going to be fit. If you're going to find someone out surfing, then they're going to have the hobby of surfing. Like, it's a pretty simple thing, but it works, right?
And I feel like we were very lucky when we came to our island in Hawaii. We had connected with a few people online, and when we came here, they welcomed us with open arms into their friendship group. And so as soon as we moved here, we luckily had friends. We also went to church and were welcomed there. So we were welcomed initially, and then over the last 4 or 5 years, we've really been able to like find those specific friendships that we really, really connect with.
I mean, and that's what's made this, like, you know, we have an incredible home here in Hawaii. We love Hawaii. It's an amazing place, but it's our friendships and community that'll like be the sticky thing to keep us here forever. And a lot of that, in a weird way, was thanks to COVID. Before COVID,
Okay, I gotta go back. Garrett hates making friends. He hates making new friends. He's so content.
Explain it, Belle.
Garrett is so content with his Morgan and Alex. He's so happy with his best buddies. And he has other very good friends, but what's funny is they're all from high school. Like, he's had the same best buddies. Friends. I mean, there's a group of 10-ish young men from the same high school that are all wonderful young men.
You gotta admit, they're the best.
They're wonderful guys. And luckily, I have become very good friends with their wives. And yeah, so Garrett like doesn't want to make new friends. And it's funny because when we were traveling before COVID, we either had people in town or we were traveling. So we didn't need to make new friends.
Also, just
and
FYI,
you also,
I'm naturally just an introvert. Like,
you are an introvert,
yeah,
for sure.
You put me in a public situation, or I just prefer.
Yeah. And so for me being like, hey, let's go to the school activity, or hey, let's go to the church activity, I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Okay, we can go, but we right when it's done, we out. You talk to anyone, no invites to dinner.
Yeah.
Introvert.
And I'm the one who's like, we gotta go make new friends.
But going back to when we came here, and then especially with COVID, and we started to like actually, I think, to contradict what we just said, I think I was the one making most of our friends during COVID because I was out surfing and playing soccer.
I was also in a crazy place.
Yeah.
During, at least the beginning of COVID. But COVID was the first time where it got you. I love being home. I found some buddies that we can surf with. They did a surf camp over on the other side of the island every single day during COVID. And it was this wonderful man who like brought everybody together. He only charged people like $30 for the day to put their kid into like day-long surfing. So we would all just hang out all day, and their families. While
the kids are surfing, all the parents are just chilling out like on the beach, cheering for all the kids, supporting the kids, but then getting to know each other. It was summer camp for the kids and summer camp for the parents.
Because it was literally everything, you know, if you want to find friends that are family friendly, like the outdoors, like surfing, like we all just immediately like matched up. And I mean, I met 4 or 5 girls that have been my best friends for the last 2 years. And like, I mean, it's such good friends, especially to go through that like difficult time where nobody was leaving the island and nobody was coming to the island, and every night like we were doing cookie nights and movie nights and like just had our own little thing going on. and you did the same thing. You had your buddies coming over to work out, and you would go surfing every morning. Like, it was a beautiful thing for our friendships to blossom during COVID.
One of my favorite things about the families, the friends that we've made here, is all the parents, especially the dads, love being dads. Like, we love being dads. We love spending time with our kids, like all the families together. I feel, unfortunately, like that's kind of rare in some places, but here, like, so many families with parents and dads who love being parents. It's a really special thing.
And so I feel like you kind of just need to figure out wherever in your area, whatever it is that you are into or want to be into, or you have to push yourself on that path, right? So if you want to, you know, if you want to find other good families, like maybe go to church, maybe sign up for, I don't know, go to
like volunteer
soccer
opportunities
games
and
or
service
put your kids in whatever activities, volunteer
where you
opportunities.
can find like-minded people. And don't be afraid to be like the instigator and organize something. That surf camp situation, we got one invite from somebody and it was going to be like 2 families. And we're like, no, like this would be fun to have a whole community thing. So we rallied
anybody we
families.
Even like had ever talked to.
Exactly. Invited everyone, and that brought it together to the point where now then this summer, what the plan is we're taking all these families and we're traveling to a destination
which I just had
like recreate the magic of
I just had a flashback of that
camp.
summer surf camp, and they needed volunteers because there were so many kids. You remember like John and like Gavin like standing out in the water for hours
and just helping kids,
just helping shuttle the kids. Like everybody kind of pitched in to give the families that like wonderful experience.
So so our plan is this summer we want to do a bucket list group expedition that is families coming together for a surf camp. That might be in Hawaii, that might be somewhere like more exotic. So this summer we're doing it as like a test run. We've invited some of our like local family friends to join us, and we're doing like a destination bucket list surf camp. And if it goes well, then we would love to open it up to bucket list friends and do something similar, but either in the winter or next year.
I feel like even like a bucket list expedition would be a great place because everybody's like a like-minded human, and the friendships that we've seen come together because of our trips that we've done, it's just super wonderful.
I want to talk more about that. I was going to think at the end, but I think we got to talk about like how cool bucket list has been as a way to meet people, and we want to like empower that and infuse that. The ways that we're doing it is, one, the bucket list group expeditions. When families have come together and meet other like bucket list people, I mean, I can't even think of how many different friendships have spawned from that, where they'll then send us photos being like, hey, we met on that Tanzania safari and now we're scuba diving in Maui together. Or, you know, like so many of them have stayed friends with each other and then also with us. Like we meet a lot of our friends through these bucket list group expeditions.
Which I actually think we'll see a handful of friends from the bucket list from like Africa last year and Boston this summer, and we're going to, you know,
during our
there's
travels.
other places that we'll see people.
Same. That's cool. And then the other thing that we're working on, I don't even know if we've mentioned this to bucket list friends yet, but we are working hard to create a bucket list app that is something of like a micro community where it's cool for us that we can be like, hey, we're going to Boston. What should we do? Where should we see? Where should we eat? And all that. And we can ask the bucket list community, but you guys can't necessarily like connect with each other that easily. So we're creating this app where then you would have the ability to say, hey, I am traveling to Netherlands. Who out there in the bucket list community is from Netherlands? And you can set your
I almost wish that, and we've done a few like virtual meetups and stuff. Like I almost wish people could see all the other sides of the screen here and know how many wonderful people of you, how wonderful you all are. Cause I think everyone would be like, wow, this is like a really great community here. So with this app, we're trying to build this community of people all over the world that really are just like-minded individuals and families that love adventure and service and kindness and happiness.
Wouldn't that be so cool for a family to say, hey, we're traveling to Walt Disney World next June. Anyone else in bucket list also going to be there? And then they like connect and line up, become friends. It's going to be so awesome.
Yeah, we've been working really hard on that. We'll have kind of like our first version here in the next few months. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Okay, so then, I mean, I think that kind of covers, as far as making friends, it's the same way when you're making couple friends.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Anything unique to making couple friends other than the difficulty of now there's
especially
the
when your
pairs that need to line up?
husband just doesn't want new friends. It can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some like really good like some of my best friends in college. Like we love each other so much, but we all kind of understand that our husbands are all very different humans to the point where we've been like, should we all go on like couple trips together? And we're all kind of like, maybe not. But I still foster those friendships and get together with my like college girlfriends, even though like I just don't know how well it'd work out to send all like 12 of us with our spouses on a trip together.
I really like their spouses. We're just very different.
You are just different. And yeah, and that's fine. And I think some of them understand it. Like they don't want to hang out with you. No offense.
Then taken.
Okay, this is what I want to talk about now. I will toot my own horn here and say that I am really good at making really good friends. Like lifelong friends.
But why is that? What is it about you?
I don't know.
I could tell you, but I wanted to hear if you can like, for 2 seconds, speak highly of yourself and think of why do you have such great friends?
Because I'm that cool. I don't know.
So that's wrong. You come up with one and then I'll tell you all the rest.
I'm a good friend. I'm a good listener and I care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people are attracted to your purity and your light. It's really cool for me, the introvert and the outsider, to see how people are drawn to you naturally and want to be around you and feel like kind of like receive that light from you, because then when they're around you, they leave feeling both positive and uplifted from that time spent with you.
And I remember when you were on the BYU soccer team and you were like one of like 2 guys that were married, and all the guys were like, where, how do we find a wife? How do we find a Jess in our life? And you were just like, and you had said one of the things you could look for as a girl that has lots of lifelong friends. Like that's a good sign in like a really good person, is that they have like lots and lots of lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you do. The friends and the relationships you've had for
I could literally list off like 15 people that I would genuinely call a best friend.Maybe 25. Like the amount of people that I'd be like, oh yeah, best friend.
Yeah,
like I have really good. You got 2.
No, I have a lot.
You have a bunch. Now you do. You did so good during COVID. But something that I feel like we've done a very good job of lately is connecting dots. We have made wonderful friends online. Over the last few years, we have made wonderful friends, from
college years and high school years,
from business, and we've like brought people together. Like, you did your tiger shark trip and we brought our friends Jim and Ellie, who are like underwater scientists and photographers, and your co-founder Kirk and our financial advisor Brian. Like we are bringing and connecting the dots for people.
And then they're becoming besties.
And it's so beautiful to see. Like sometimes you're like, oh, why is Jill and Liz hanging out without me? But then you're like, no,
so happy for them.
This is wonderful that now like these friendships are like building each other up.
I think a good example of that. So a recent video we put out on YouTube showed us on that dolphin trip. And that one was a cool mix of like high school friends, college friends, and then
and new friends.
Yeah. And I mean, a unique, interesting aspect that some of our newer friends live this like Hollywood celebrity, like famous side of things. And so if you take like our like small town, like awesome high school friends and you mesh it with that group, and you'd think there would be some like division or weirdness, and there wasn't at all. So to see them like becoming tight and becoming friends, really cool, right?
Yeah, and I think some people maybe have a hard time like wanting to like cross-pollinate friend groups. I remember you'd always get mad at me. Well, that was kind of a different story, when I would like bring old boyfriends together. I just want everybody to be friends.
Jessica, we were like about to get engaged, and she invited me to dinner. And her ex-boyfriend, the boy she dated right before me, that you were in love with, and like
I was like,
had a hard time getting
Matt's coming over for dinner.
And I show up and he was there too, and I was just like, whoa, this is a trap. Like, what's going on? And I was weirded out. He was weirded out, and Jess was the only one being like, what's weird about this? We can all be friends. And I was just like, this girl is so pure and so stupid. Just kidding. So foolish. Yeah, jeez, you're weird.
Well, we really value our friendships. We hold them so, so dearly. And we have made some wonderful, wonderful, like new friends. Like we have this new group of friends that we've traveled a handful of times with that like we now consider family. But then there's like the few couples, like we have this couple of friends that we like got married at the same time. We lived in the same like married student housing. And like, it's always like, there really is nothing like old friends. We love our new friends, but like those friendships, the Morgan and Alex and like,
do you have
it
any
means so much.
2 cents? I mean, fortunately, we dated and got married before the world of like online dating. That sounds the worst and terrible. But there is still the world of like social media and becoming friends in real life with people who you initially meet online. Do you have any like thoughts or feelings on that? Because a lot of our current great friends sparked from that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
A lot of
them.
We'll get some messages. I think some people think that you are like related to Derek Huff and Julianne Huff, and like ask how that friendship started. And not related at all. Didn't know each other, and it was actually all thanks to Julianne Huff, who during an interview mentioned that there was like a speed question, like what's your favorite food? What's your favorite restaurant? Who's your favorite account to follow on Instagram? And she just let it out like, the Bucket List family. And we're like, well, no way. Like we were freaking out because we were such big fans of her. And so we messaged her, she messaged back. And it wasn't for like 8 months later that we ended up meeting in real life, hitting it off, becoming great friends. And she was so giving to like invite us into her friend circle where we just made so many more really tight friends, lifelong friends.
Well, I think the internet can be like a beautiful thing. Like there's actually like 2 or 3 girls that I know that tore their ACLs like at the exact same time as me. Never met them, but we've like continued to like DM each other every few months and be like, how's it going? Like what you know, like where are you at? And like, I don't know, it can be a really beautiful place if you kind of just open yourself up. And I think people are often really afraid to do that. And I get it. I get that it can be scary putting yourself out there, but I mean, like just sending people DMs, and they don't even need to be a huge account, but just someone that you might relate to. I think some like beautiful friendships can come from that.
Yeah. This was the last note I made when I was thinking about the topic of friendship, is I do wish that people, and maybe I've done a good job in our YouTube videos of sharing a sense of this, but I wish people could see how we are when we are around our friends. We say all the time that we feel like we are our best version of ourselves when we're with our friends, and it's thanks to them. Like they bring the goodness and best side of us out of us. And then I also think, you know, when people think of like an Instagram or an influencer or a YouTuber, it's like cameras in your faces all the time and things are staged. I would love for people to see how much we don't have cameras around us and how nothing is like forced and it's just natural. And, you know, naturally, any group of friends, when they're wanting to capture a moment, will whip out a video here and there and take photos together. But
well, you do such an amazing job of being so discreet. Like, I don't think discreet's the right word, but like being in the moment and still filming it. And our friends, I'll tell you, like they treasure the videos that you make of our trips.
I think that's part of it.
So much.
Is everyone knows like I am like the memory capturer. So it's like, hey, friends, come together, come on this dolphin boat with us. Leave your cameras at home. I'm going to take it on me to capture it and edit it and then like gift it back to everyone.
I also love like when we share our like friends trips on YouTube, because I'm like, people don't care to see you and Morgan and Alex and like your buddies, but it's like obviously these are our family members and I couldn't care less what anybody else to say. But like I'm so glad that you make those videos of those like specific friend trips that we go on.
Yeah. Well, moral of the story, friendships are just the one of the most absolute important things to us, and we really feel for anyone who is struggling in that area and want to do everything that we can to like help that and facilitate that. And so, yeah, I think if anyone out there has like important questions or thoughts and details on this, like we would love to hear from you. That's why we called this from the very beginning. We called this group Bucket List Friends. And I remember we got some like pushback in the beginning of like, why are you calling this Bucket List Friends? Because we're not real friends if we've never met you. Very few comments in that direction, but if you could hear our internal conversation, it was like, no, we're calling this Bucket List Friends for a few very purposeful reasons. When we talk to the camera is very different than our YouTube videos, right? These like podcast videos that we make, we want to just speak openly and casually as if we are talking to our best friends. These travel deals that we provide, Bucket List Friends, it's the best things that we have available to us, and we want to offer them to you, our friends. And so that is the title, Bucket List Friends, because that is the relationship. We treat you how we treat all of our friends.
And hopefully this community that we're building very soon, this technology, this app that we're making, will
just take it to the next level.
Bring everybody closer together. So we're excited for that, for sure.
All right. Thanks for being my friend, babe. We're best friends. All right. Until July.
See ya.